All right, we are back here today with another custom from ADV Tactical. So Andre de Villiers, South African maker, made a bunch of knives for my buddy Nick down in New Zealand, and Nick had them sent here. You've heard that before. They all come with this standard zippered pouch with pockets for two knives. You're going to be hard pressed to fit one of his knives in the pocket, let alone two, but it gives you options. And I think what Nick does when he gets them down in New Zealand is he has several Pelican cases that have slots. And I don't know, I've never seen them, but he tells me he has like 4 or 5 Pelican cases. So I don't know if they go in this way or if they lay in this way, or some people put them in this way. That's a good question. When I travel and I have my smaller case where they go in this way, how do you put them in your case? Do you put them with the blade down this way, or do you put them with the blade up this way? In the comments, I'll put what I do rather than skew the voting right now. And then subsequently, if you were putting them in this way, would you put the blade towards you or the blades away from you? Just interesting, inquisitive type questions, because I think it's informative and it's fun for me to know, how do other people organize their stuff in cases? Or do you just randomly throw them in and it doesn't really matter and you don't have OCD, so they don't all have to be the same? Anyway, let's get back to the knife. This is the ADV Invader. Is a flipper tab and thumb studs. It's a pretty cool knife, and it's got a cool feature that I don't think I've really exactly seen done before, and we'll get into that. Now, the jimping up on top is pretty freaking aggressive. Depending on how you're carrying this in your pocket and how you are deploying it from your pocket, that could rub up against your jeans or your pants and could have premature wear. It may rip your jeans, okay? It hasn't on mine, but it could. Flipper tab works great. The thumb studs work great. All in all, it's a pretty good working knife, and it feels good in the hand. It's got substantial weight. We're at 8.9 ounces, so it's got some weight to it, but it feels balanced. It feels good. No hot spots. And you could get down and do some serious cutting with this thing. Compound ground blade. Let's just zoom in here and we'll talk about that. S35VN. Very nicely ground. You have 0.029 behind the edge over here on the thick part and 0.023, 0.24 on the main belly. Nice oil slick type of anodizing on the titanium scales. Don't know if he calls it something different, but that's kind of what I get out of it, with a little bit of a frag pattern, some darkened areas here milled in. All in all, really nice. Andre threw in the lanyard on all of these knives for Nick. The two-tone theme carries through to the back, and it's got, some oils and stuff on here still, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, one of the unique things on this is the pocket clip. 2 things about it. One, it has a roller here, so it rolls in and out of your pocket, and it's got a hinge. And you can see that here by that little hinge pin, if you will. So it does, the pocket clip itself doesn't really flex. There's a spring and a hinge and a spring. So it pivots into your pocket. So this is going to fit all of the pockets out there. And it'll be the same tension on everything. So if you have a thin pocket, thin material, it's just going to go in and out. If you're wearing Carhartts or Dickies or something like, with a thick material, canvas pockets that are reinforced, like I have some 511 tactical jeans, that has some reinforcement there on the side. This will work great. Whereas a normal spring pocket clip, let's see, what do I got here? Like this one on this Red Horse Knife Works, you're only going to get so much spring out of it. So on a really thick pair of material, it might be really hard to get in and out of your pocket. This type of a hinged pocket clip is really unique. I don't know that I've seen this type of design before. I've seen, like on the Microtech Sigil, they had kind of a hidden pocket clip. It was recessed and you could push in up here and it would pivot out. But then when you took it out of your pocket, it kind of recessed into the knife. So it was smooth and flush. I haven't seen it like this before. And I think that's a really great idea. Now, granted, it does add a spring to the mix. Over time, could that spring fatigue? Could it break? Could it be a mess? Maybe. I don't know. I really like it because, as I mentioned, those 511 tactical pants that I have, I can only carry 1 or 2 different knives with them because they're the only ones that fit in those pockets because of the pocket clip sizing. All right, so a couple specs on this thing real quick. 5 1/16 closed, 9 inches overall, 3.9 inch blade. We talked about the behind the edges. The blade thickness is pretty robust at 0.176. This thing is really built to work. It's crazy sharp. I like this milling up here, the grinds, so it kind of all matches. Would be really good for piercing, things like that. Wharncliffe blade, not really my style, but super practical. Gives you a lot of cutting. It gets you the tip right in there to where you need to cut and cut. Weighs in at 8.9 ounces, I think I mentioned. Runs on bearings and is just a really good example of quality South African work that you just, for the price, you can't beat it. I don't know what these cost. They were about, Nick may chime in, I think it was around $700 US, give or take. I think he told me the total of all 5 of them, and I did some quick math, and it's around $650, $700 a knife, something like that. If you average it out, some might be a little more, some might be a little less. That was the Sharpie, the Spyderco Delica. Because I pulled out the custom Hellraiser, how about that? And just because I talked about the 911 tactical jeans, the RJ Martin Q36 is my knife of choice when I wear those jeans. The spring in the zirconium pocket clip just works great on those jeans. So there you go. Quick little peek at the Q36 SS from RJ Martin. Andre, thanks for sending this to me. Nick, thanks for allowing him to send it to me. And all of you, thanks for watching. I do have an ADV playlist I'll put up here in the corner and my South African playlist in the other corner because there is a lot of great makers in South Africa that you are going to get, hands down, I'm going to go on a limb and say you're going to get a much better deal financially by having one of the South African makers make your knife than you will a United States maker. It is what it is. And oftentimes you can get, for the same money as a US maker, you can have a South African maker use more exotic materials. You get very similar knife for the similar price, but out of Damascus, blade steel, Timascus, and some more exotics. And you're still going to spend your $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, but get something handcrafted with exotic materials out of South Africa. So I don't know. It's worth checking them out if you haven't already looked into the South African market.